Hello everyone. It's James again. And today I want to talk about something very important. Something I've actually have been talking about since the beginning of this channel. And that is how to protect your relationships when or if you think you're in a good relationship. You see, the biggest mistake is underestimating Satan. And thinking we are somehow smarter than he is. When in reality the only one that never fell for Satan's tricks was Jesus Christ. Every man and woman on earth at one time or another fell for his lies and his tricks. At least at one point and time in their life. And thinking we are above sin is a huge mistake. Because I believe that very mindset makes Satan try harder to prove you wrong and brag about how he was able to get you to stumble on your walk. And the biggest way to get people to stumble is to get them to literally throw away their entire family and relationship with someone that loves them and treats them well. All to be with a narcissist or psychopath that cares nothing about them. But someone that makes them feel excited and good in the moment. You see, I've said time and time again. If you believe you are in a solid relationship, you really need to be each other's best friends and you must enjoy each other's company for real. And please, no demons in people suits are going to come out of every crack and corner in the attempt to get you to mess up this wonderful relationship you seem to have. And one of the main ways they do this is someone in the workplace. Because these are the people you oftentimes see more than your own spouse. They will do whatever they can to tempt you to stray away from your husband or wife. And I've often said, if you are in a solid relationship, you can't leave anything up to chance. You have to expect that demons in people suits sooner or later will try you and try your relationship. They will try and test you. I've talked about before. Regarding if you are a good and decent woman. And your co-workers can tell that you are. And they can tell you are really in love with your boyfriend or husband. There will be other female workers of yours that will saddle up next to you and pretend to be your so-called bestie. They will help you out with work projects, and if you say that you and your husband are painting a room in your house this weekend, she will invite herself over all to help. She will show up with cookies and coffee. All to show you how good of a friend she is. But just like most narcissists, no matter if they are a man or woman, this is all in act. And sooner or later, once they believe you have bought into the idea they are a good person, they will slowly do and say things to get you to doubt a great many things about yourself and your situation. And one of these things they will get you to second guess in this case is for the woman. Your relationship with your boyfriend or husband. And I've seen this happen hundreds of times. As soon as these demons figure out there is a genuine decent woman in their area, they start working on a plan to dirty her up and bring her down to their level. And they do it with fake friendship and tricking her into doubting everything about herself and the relationship she has with her husband or boyfriend. And this is why I've said time and time again. If you believe you are in a rock-solid relationship, one of the ways to keep it that way is to understand and know that Satan is indeed going to try you. And you need to sit down with one another and come up with a plan of action when and if such a thing occurs. Because what society says doesn't work. Hence the picture behind me. And we'll get more to that in a moment. Because here's the thing. Both the man and woman in the picture are married to other people. Shocker, right? And I know. I was just talking about how to protect a relationship via the woman. And there is a reason for me doing so. And I will explain it in a moment. But please know. I know there are things that men need to do as well. Because men and women cheat like crazy and not one of them are above this type of behavior. Women aren't less bad and men aren't less bad. They both can be equally up to no good. But there is a difference, at least in the West, how these things are handled and talked about. You see, if you were to sit down in a room with a handful of women and a handful of men, and talk about this very subject, if any man were to say he's not comfortable with his wife traveling out of state for work trips and on so-called girls' trips, or going to those evil bachelorette parties, or going to a nightclub or bar with her so-called girlfriends, almost every woman in the room will call him insecure. They will call him a little boy. They will even question his manhood. They will call him controlling and try to make him feel like he is the problem. And that's somehow your wife dressing up like a stripper almost. And going to a nightclub with strange men and purposely leaving the man she so-called loves at home. All to go to a place where strange men that care nothing about her are seeing her as one thing and trying to hit on her all night is somehow normal. That is normal, and this is how everyone lives, and you are just insecure. When the truth is, when you talk to these men that bought into this gaslighting and crazy making, and that they were somehow insecure. And happy wife, happy life. And said okay to his wife or girlfriend hanging out in such places without him and hanging around women that liked going such places as well. Almost within short order the woman in said relationship ended up leaving this man that chose to so-called trust. For a man she met at one of these nightclubs or ladies only trips. The first thing I will say is, ladies, if any woman shows up in your life and wants to take you to go to places that you know you shouldn't be at when you are in a serious relationship, this woman that showed up in your life is doing Satan's work. And this is why I tell women, if a woman shows up in your life like this and they are doing one good deed after the next for you, okay, maybe she's a nice person. Maybe. But if she switches and wants you to do something that you know you shouldn't do, you need to slow things down and remember the plan of action you and your boyfriend or husband came up with in case such a situation happens. How to politely tell such a so-called friend that you're not interested and then be too busy to ever hang out with them again. But what about the men? Well, this picture behind me tells that story. This man is a high-powered CEO for a big AI company. And this woman is the lead in his HR department. I know, right? Go figure. These types of men, just like this woman, tend to think they can fly and that they can do whatever they want to others. Look. No one knows exactly what went on here. Except they are both married. Who knows, the people they are married to might be cheating as well. But let's say they aren't. This guy might operate under as if he is all-powerful. Along with the woman that is in this video that is going viral, and you can look it up. It was a kiss cam for a concert. And when they got put on the Jumbotron they panicked. Why? Possibly because they are both cheating? But from what I understand, this woman's husband is a CEO for a company as well. But it appears he's just rich. The man she is working for and cheating with is wealthy. And this goes into why I was tackling the issue with women first. Because it goes back into the Garden of Eden. Satan approached Eve when Adam had walked away from Eve to do something like gather berries or tend to a chore. And Satan did all of this to tempt Eve with what message? What message did he tempt Eve with? He tempted her with having so-called more. She already had literally everything, including being immortal. But Satan somehow convinced her he could give her more. This woman that is married to a CEO herself, that is rich by anyone's standards. But her and her boss, the one she is allegedly cheating with, she likely sees more. And more than likely this is what this guy in this video possibly led with in order to get with this woman. The ability to give her more of what she already has. Look. This guy probably thinks he can do and say whatever he wants and the rules don't apply to him. Was he always like this? Allegedly, who the heck knows? But I will tell women this. If you are with such a man, he's flying all over the place for work and he is this so-called perfect guy that tells other people what to do. Please know. Most of the time. Not all of the time. But most of the time. He sees you like a placeholder. Anyone could have been the mother of his children and could be in these so-called perfect family pictures. Showing the perfect image. You are just a placeholder. And I think the said problem is, a decent woman will find a guy like this and he will use all of his perfect lines given to him by Satan. And when she realizes things are going in a direction she's not happy or comfortable with, she tries to understand him and tries to get him to change. But this is likely what this guy is. And likely how he got to the position of power he got to. By not caring one bit about other people and not only caring only about himself. But possibly seeing it as his right to treat others in a not so good way. Now I'm not saying this is for sure the case about this guy. But I've seen this dynamic before and it's what I believe could possibly be the case in this instance. Bottom line. Relationships where you hang out with coworkers at bars or concerts after work. Or going on work trips. Or going to nightclubs when in relationships and on and on and on. This is usually how things end up. And one thing I noticed in this video. And you can find it literally everywhere. When the kiss cam turns to these people. And they panic and turn away from the camera. The woman turns her back to the camera and starts to talk to the woman next to her like she knows her. I'm not saying she knows her. I'm not saying that at all. But the woman next to her seems super surprised too and partially tries to cover her face as well and is talking back and forth with this woman allegedly cheating. Why is this important? This is the big difference between men and women. Usually men that cheat like this do things all by themselves. However, women that cheat like this. Not always, not always, not always. But a lot of the time have best lady friends that are a part of the cover-up. If this woman is her friend and they do know each other. Which again. I do not know. But if they are. I wouldn't be shocked if they both told the husbands they were going to this concert as a part of a ladies only trip. And her CEO boyfriend possibly met her up there. And the husband said, "Hey, have a great time with your friend." Because he didn't want to be called insecure. Do yourself a favor. And on a lot of these ladies only shows where there are a panel of women. Listen to the things they call men insecure over. Or how they question a man's manhood. That's the big one. When a woman as a knee-jerk reaction questions a man's manhood instead of addressing the issue is a red flag and a half. And you never hear such people giving good advice on how to avoid such a situation. You just hear such women telling men to man up and to trust and to provide more resources and to trust and to trust and to trust. And guess what happens? Psychopathic men eat this message up. Because they know that leaves an open lane to get with a woman that has a boyfriend or husband and whisper Satan's tempting words into her ear. I say if you are a man or woman. Do your best to not date or start a relationship with a man or woman that travels for work and leaves you at home. Do not start a relationship with a man or a woman that goes out to events like this but insists you stay home. Also dinners, bars, so forth and so on. With their co-workers after work but as a part of work. And do not start a relationship with someone that out of the blue wants to leave you home while they go to a nightclub all so they can act single. And I will say this can be part of a narcissist's do-do test. At least one that a lot of narcissists use. You see. Around month 6 or so. A narcissist, no matter they be a man or woman. They will either let their mask slip some and see how you react to it. Or they will put you in a very uncomfortable position to see if you tolerate it and them. Usually they will accuse you of something you didn't do. Or they will get angry and start a fight about something that makes no sense. One of their famous reasons to start a fight is you being late by 5 minutes to meet up with them. They will argue and argue all to get you to try to prove your points of why you were late meeting up with them. All the while they are eating it all up and they know they have you right where they want you. Then they will pull back and say they feel bad getting upset at you and they don't know why they do what they do. And just like clockwork they are taken back by their target. And this is how the green light in the narcissist's mind gets turned on to use and abuse you. Because now they know they can get away with it. But sometimes, what they do, and I've seen narcissist women do this a lot. I mean a lot, usually around month 6. They will say, "Oh hey, I bumped into one of my girlfriends from school. From years ago. It's been a long time since I've seen her." As the boyfriend in the scenario is like, "Wow. Cool, you ran into a friend. And he's really happy for her. But then the conversation takes a turn. His girlfriend says, "Oh well, we are planning to meet up this Friday night." A night this guy planned on going out to dinner with his girlfriend. And then she drops in another piece of bad news. That they are meeting up at a nightclub. And even if the guy doesn't get mad, but politely says he's not comfortable with it, he will get called insecure. And it's just this one time. Nothing bad will happen. But she won't address the elephant in the room. Why are you meeting up with your old friend to catch up in a loud nightclub with thumping music when you can't even talk to each other and hear each other's words? The real truth is this. This woman is likely a narcissist, and so is her friend. And she didn't just bump into her at the mall or wherever. She likely has been at least texting or talking to her during the entire time you've been dating. And figured now was the right time to pull this friend you've never heard about out of her back pocket and toss her into the mix. Because she wants to see if you will go along with her behavior that is clearly wrong. Because hey, you can be uncomfortable and say what you don't like. But what are you at the end of things accepting? And this goes for both men and women. If you are with someone that is showing these toxic traits, especially on month 6, and you argue with them and all of that, but after the dust settles, they still end up doing what they wanted to do, and you end up staying. This signals in the narcissist's brain they can do whatever they want to you and you will accept it. That means even cheat. And it's all reinforced by society. This relationship behind me is what is being pushed down our throats as being the norm. And why do you think they push and push and push and push so hard for people to live broken lives? Because they want the destruction of families and the relationships with one another that God wants us to have. Look. If both these people are or were cheating, they are both wrong and both part of the problem. But please know. No matter if you are a man or woman, you're not insecure for not wanting your spouse to go and do these activities while you sit at home. Because the first uneasy feeling you felt when such a situation came up, that uneasy feeling happened for a reason. Quite simply because what was happening to you was wrong. God was likely speaking to you through your gut, telling you so. Well, that's all I have for today. I do hope your day is blessed. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.